BeastNet podcast, sponsored in part by James Safety Services, OCR Buddy, and supported by the fitness community. Here we discuss all things fitness related, running, rucking, mental health and preparedness, and of course, obstacle course racing. Welcome to the BeastNet.
Hey everybody out there in BeastNet land, you got Brother Boggs here, and I'm just giving you a quick introduction. Mike was so excited when he was recording this because he was out bucking hay that he forgot to record the intro. So today on the BeastNet, we've got Pretty Mike interviewing John Medvec, winner of the 2020 Battle Miles Championship. Don't know what Battle Miles is? Stick around or read the liner notes because you'll learn a lot about it on this episode. Welcome to the BeastNet.
Congratulations on winning the championship and all that.
Absolutely. I've been competing in Battle Miles races for over a year now, almost I think a year and a half. So it's been quite the adventure. A lot of fun.
It has. I mean, I've done Battle Miles on about a year and I actually finished all 12, but I want to go back and redo them because I feel like that I just finished them, and I want to go back and finish them. So
yeah, I've been seeing you all over Battle Miles a lot more recently, but you're really putting in the work. That's awesome.
The 2020 was a year I luckily was one of the people that was able to thrive through 2020, and I've dropped about 100 pounds, and that's kind of I'm finally getting into my own, and I'm really feeling it. That's why I Battle Miles. I think I just finished. Those are the ones I want to go back and redo.
Yeah, they're definitely fun. I've done a couple of them over and over, and incorporated some of it in some of my training for sure. So that way it could keep me competitive, especially for the championship.
Yeah, I made it into the championship, but I was out in the first round. But I mean, it was amazing just to make it in. But
yeah, absolutely. But congrats on losing all that weight. That's awesome.
Like, it was a lucky year for me. It's just kind of one of those things. Everything fell into place just right, where I was able to do it. My doctor was like, "This is healthy." I'm doing it's a healthy way of doing it because I lost it so fast. But
I got you. Yeah, I did the same. I got in the fitness industry about, I'd say 2015, maybe 2014, a year after my son was born. And here I am doing, just killing it. So
yeah. So what got you into it? I mean, I know you kind of mentioned in the email, everything. You started off small, which is the best way to do it. Just kind of worked your way up.
Yeah, so I was never really into sports growing up. I played football, wrestling, I did taekwondo, I did a little bit of everything, and mostly I was raised on a farm, so I did a lot of hiking and exploring and stuff, and just something about my late 20s, I got kind of sick of just, playing video games and just I'm not doing anything, and seeing all my friends on the weekend, they're out adventures and stuff. So when I was 29, I just I'm gonna be 30 here in the next year. I want to kind of hit hard and start creating stories for my kids to have inspiration from, and hopefully they can all that and maybe follow my footsteps. So just my kids kind of inspired me, and then just some other things that kind of tragically after that, my mom passed away, which kind of motivated me to hit it even harder and study and learn how to diet better and take better care of myself. So that way I have more of a longevity of a life and be around a lot longer. So my kids don't have some of the same things I grew up with parents that had bad health and bad habits and stuff. So It's just mainly my children, my family, and a lot of the people along the way that I've gotten connected with through the years that kind of helped me stay on this and drive forward. A few years ago, I got involved with Ruck N Run. I started out as a competitor, and then today, now I'm the vice president of the nonprofit side of that event, and we're just growing that every year, which we had recently started our 11-month subscription series, which is amazing because it started as a 5K and it's grown so much over the years. And along that way, I did a few Spartan races and did a couple hurricane heats and got in contact with Battle Miles and just kept pushing my limits and going even further. Hey, you're cutting out really bad. I didn't get any of that.
All right, and now we're going to take a quick pause so we can hear from our sponsors.
Does your business need first aid, AED, OSHA, flagging, or other safety training? James Safety Services is your one-stop shop. Find them on Facebook today at James Safety Services WA and ask for a quote on hosting your training needs.
And we're back.
All right,
There you are.
there we are. Sorry about that. So we're in I live out in the boonies basically, so we'll have a perfect spot and then all of a sudden we won't. So basically what I was saying was, we know Battle Miles. We talked about that before. I've done all those. You do. I love Battle Miles. They're a great challenge. But what's Ruck N Run? I mean, that's a Ruck N Run. That's one that I want to kind of look into a little bit more because I want another challenge.
Yeah, Ruck N Run is a nonprofit veterans organization that is created or was created by an active Army drill sergeant, George Fuller. When I got involved with it, it was the second annual, and it was a way for me to honor my family's service in the military and honor veterans. And I grew up as a military brat, so where I live, the military community is kind of spread out a little bit, but I was able to bring all that into one place on one day and honor those who serve and those who are serving. And so it started out as a 5.56K, and along the route, it has stations, and you stop at each station. And if you're competing, you do 25 of the exercise designated to that station. And you can either ruck with a rucksack, minimum of 45 pounds for males, 35 pounds for females if you're competing. Or if you're not competing, you just want to do it, you just carry whatever weight. And then if you're running, you don't have to carry that. So, but along the route, last year, we were able to get Army drill sergeants out and at the stations help motivate you and power through the exercises. And then 2 years ago, I believe 2 to 3 years ago, we introduced the 7.62, which added a couple more stations along the route and extended it out further. So it's growing. And then in the last year, 2020, we had monthly challenges that's designed for any fitness level. And each challenge is different. It has a theme, and those themes kind of are catered with the whatever the challenge is. So like January is our Nordic Ruck N Run challenge. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of it's kind of like based around pushing yourself through the cold. We have military service people out, or service members out there battling elements all over the world, including the cold. So we've got things like polar bear plunge, or splitting wood, or if you don't have wood to split, sledgehammer and tire work, and then just a lot of different things. It's like a bucket list, but it's to embrace the cold and give a new twist on things. And then each challenge you sign up and register for, you'll earn a challenge coin at the end of the month. Kind of continues that military tradition of challenge coins. So there's a lot of little things like that Ruck N Run does to honor those who serve and our veterans and service members. And one of our other additional goals is to educate people on what our military is doing for us and has done. So
that's awesome. I mean, that's one that I've heard of it, but I've just never, it's one of those ones I haven't looked into yet. And it was one of the ones on my, I've kind of got that list of ones that I want to look into to see what, I want to do next. Battle Miles has been kind of my focus for the last couple months. And I still want to keep doing the Battle Miles, but I also want, some other ones. I've also done this year, Rock and Roll had they had their virtuals that you didn't have to pay for. It was just a weekend challenge. So I've been doing those as well. I think the Ruck and Run, that sounds like one that I'm definitely going to have to look into. That sounds like a nice virtual challenge to keep me going. So
yeah, absolutely. So to kind of show you some of the challenge coins.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, and the one thing neat about it is it's not a race. It's almost like additional training, but at the same time, it's like it is a challenge. So it's a month-long challenge. And, depending on your fitness level, you can do it all in one day if you want, or you can do it the whole month. So we try to make it to where it's up to the person on how they want to divide and conquer the challenge. So
see, and that's cool because I've done a couple of them where it's with Battle Miles, which is great. I mean, it's all in one day. It's like some of the ones like the death race, which I can't talk about what the death race is, but the death race was a challenge all in one day that most people most likely would have broken that up over a couple days or a week, and but it's fun, and then some of the other challenges that we've done, some of the Black Ops have been quite interesting. They're fun challenges to keep you going. And that's kind of what I've been looking for, is those fun ones. And it sounds like, the Ruck and Run would be more of a monthly thing. So that's something I'm going to definitely have to look into. So what's the cost normally around the Ruck and Run?
Well, the subscription series right now is $20. I think it's $20 and some change. Can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a reoccurring payment per month. And I can look real quick.
So about the same as the Black Ops for Battle Miles.
It's similar to that. Which kind of what it is as you know, Black Ops is just Black Ops. It's you don't know what you're getting into until you get it. Whereas Ruck and Run is or the Ruck and Run series is instead of just paying each month, like, okay, I'm going to just do January and February, skip March or whatever. This just sets you up on a subscription. And it just automatically does that. So the challenges just go in. It's $16.45 per challenge, or set up for the 11-month subscription, which is $20.21. And the reason it's that expensive is there's a couple challenges like Operation Heat Stroke. And then the main event in November, which honors Veterans Day, those get you a shirt. So if you spread out the cost difference, it ends up saving you more. And there's more details on ruckandrun.org on how that works. So, but it just sets you up on a 11-month subscription, and it just ends up saving you more money in the long run. So.
All right. Yeah, I'll make sure that we put the link to that up on when we post this, because that sounds fun. That's definitely something I want to look into.
Absolutely.
So what keeps you going? What motivates you? I mean, I know you're doing all these, your family and all that stuff, but I mean, we all have those dark moments. I've been actually, a lot of people haven't noticed, but I've not to my post, but I've been struggling in the last month to really motivate myself. What keeps you going?
What pushes me isn't just being called the machine. It's just I I just can't stop, man. I have so much time invested in this and so much energy and so much pain and all that stuff. So knowing that how much work I put into where I'm at today is one motivation. I never want to revert back, because there's days I couldn't even walk. Like in the first 2 years, I had pushed myself so hard. And then not only that, like a lot of the people along the way, like with what people I've talked to through battle miles, through Ruck N Run and all that stuff, the friends, the camaraderie, that alone motivates me to keep going, because I feel like I've got all you guys just, back behind me, believe in me to do my best. And that alone like helped me conquer the championship, because I remember when you kind of came along board right when the group got created for the competitors and the ambassadors and stuff.
Yep.
And being one of the original guys that got involved with Battle Miles, I felt like there's a lot more riding on that reputation. So and then all the friends I've met, they're just like, man, you got to do this. And I was kind of iffy about even doing it, but Josh over at Battle Miles, he's like, man, I want you to do it. I'm like, okay. So that 13.1 half K or a half marathon with the 20-pound vest, I just kind of like, I didn't give it my all there. But then I started seeing like, okay, everybody's really wanting to freaking do this hardcore. So they really want it. So then the second round happened. I'm like, okay, that's my jam. I love downfall. I love doing the 4 miles and 400 burpees. That's one of my favorite that I've done. So I have a lot of pride in that one. And then the final rounds, the Assisian, I'm like, I'm gonna push myself harder than I ever have. And I was surprised to go up, because I ran a few of those miles sub 6 minutes, and I don't know what got into me that day. Everything just felt right, perfect. And it was actually not a pretty nice day here for December. So it all worked out. And bottom line, what motivates me is my friends and the connections I made through the years, along with my family and all support, so.
Which, yeah, Battle Miles has such a great community. I mean, it's one of those things once, because Don, the producer, I guess, manager basically of BeastNet, he's the one that got me into doing Battle Miles at first. And I just bought the whole package. I'm like, okay, if I'm going all in,
Right.
And I bought the whole package. And it took me about 10 months probably to finish them all. But the first ones, like I said, I started with one, which was probably the stupidest decision I've ever made. But that's one that I definitely want to go back and redo, because I feel like I didn't give that one my all and I didn't do it good enough with that one. So, but the championships was amazing. I mean, for me to be involved in it, considering, I don't know if you saw the picture of me a year ago at 285 pounds doing a Spartan race. I mean, look like Jabba the Hutt's twin. And, and now I'm 185 pounds, and it's like now I want to go back and I want to crush those earlier ones. So, but Ruck N Run sounds like another one that, that's what I'm looking for now, is I need those without live races still, and not knowing when we might have live races. I need those. I'm one of those ones. I like those challenges. I like someone to give me that challenge, say, hey, go do this. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
And because actually what was funny is that first round of the championships, I happened to see it right when I was about ready to go do a run. And I'm like, well, I was going to go run a half mile anyway, so might as well throw a vest on and do it. So
absolutely. Yeah.
And just took off
and you like double up on your training too. Cause I do both. I run, and then I also lift 5 times a week. So I incorporate both. And then I get bored running, especially if I get past like 4 miles. It just gets really monotonous for me. So being able to do stuff along the way, that kind of breaks it up for me. It's not just to catch my breath. I never catch my breath when I have to stop and do burpees. So
no, that's not catching your breath. Usually that's when my fitness monitor on my wrist starts telling me I'm hitting like, the peak zone is when I stop to do the burpees. So,
Right.
but,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about these challenges. I mean, they're just so much fun. And, you killed it in the championships. I mean, and that was anybody who doesn't know what Battle Miles championships were and what the races were. You look up Battle Miles and look up half tribute was the first one.
Yep.
And then downfall,
and then a
Yep.
season.
Yeah, and then it's and it's one of those. I did them all. I mean, I was out in the first round, but I'm like I'm out, but I'm still doing the races. So I did Ascension a week late because I did the December Black Ops in that week instead. So, but
yeah.
So
yeah, I did Snowfall yesterday. I really wanted to do that when it was snowing, and then we got hit with some snow, so it's just perfect timing.
I live in Washington. We don't get a lot of snow, so
yeah.
we don't get a lot.
We
just get a lot of rain.
Get ice here, but it started snowing. I'm like, okay, honey, I'm gonna go do this. So it felt right. So, but I kind of took my time with that one.
Yeah, Snowfall was a fun one, but I mean, and that's what I love the races. It just gives a whole new, meaning to, what you're doing. I mean, I finished off, my goal was to finish all of them by the end of the year. And I did X miler, I think the 28th. So, and that one was, cause I did the new style. I didn't do the old, I did it on my treadmill, but it was interesting cause I did it on the treadmill. So my watch said I was at 50, was it like 13 miles, but the treadmill said 15. I'm like, well, I'm going with, they both have to say at least above 15. So I kept going till my watch said 15. And I think the treadmill at that point said almost 20. So I'm like, whatever. But
yeah, I remember when it got released, the X Miler, the original one, because I doubled up with that and then another event of Ruck N Run Rucktoberfest, which is a 50K. Yep. So along the way, I was doing the X miler while carrying my ruck for the weight and stuff, and every mile stopped and did the burpees. So
yeah, and it's crazy because I know I did for my birthday. I ran 43 miles for my birthday, which also was the final. I was finally able to finish the September Black Ops because I didn't have a time where I could run the distance I needed for that challenge. So I finally did that when I did my birthday 43 miles. So that was a fun day, but
still amazing. So
the one thing, the part that amazed me the most and felt so good was 3 years ago, I did my first marathon, way overweight, shouldn't have been doing it. Took me 9.5 hours to do a marathon.
Wow.
But I finished. When I did the 43 miles, when, my fitness tracker cut out all the times I stopped to talk to people because a bunch of people showed up and stuff like that, I finished right at 9.5 hours. So I did an extra 17 miles and didn't add any time. So I was pretty happy with myself. So
that's amazing. Yeah, when I first started running, like I built myself up from, okay, I'm going to run a quarter mile without stopping till I got to 5K and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just train to run 5Ks and do sprinting and stuff like that. I don't really had any interest of going further. But then eventually I did the death race, and the X miler was over 33 miles for me. So that just like, I don't know where my limit is anymore, to be honest with you.
I think that's it. You set those small goals, like you said, to do the 5 mile or either the 5K and stuff like that, because you don't really think about the distance. But then once you get 5K, it's like, okay, well, this is easy now. What's next? And then you start adding on to it. And that's, I think, where a lot of people make mistakes. They try and go for those big ones right at the beginning, and then they have issues. And it's like, no, do the small goals. Once you hit that small goal, then step up. And I think that's where I got lucky. I started with small, and then it's like, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I can run 4 miles in an hour. And then all of a sudden 5 miles an hour. Now I can do 6. And it's just like, I kept upping, everything. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That is the good way to do it, I guess. So
it worked for me. Here I am. So
yeah, you're killing it. So So we're getting, up there on time a little bit. So what would you tell the listeners, if they were thinking of doing any of these, the battle miles, the Ruck N Run, any of these challenges, what would be your advice to somebody just getting into this, or someone thinking about doing any of these things?
I personally, it's a lot about training, and it's a lot of it's mental,
Yeah.
What works for me may not work for a lot, but like I said, I started on the couch, and I'm going over 30 miles now, and then some. So just start small and just work your way up. I mean, just take your time with it. You're gonna have pain along the way. You're gonna be tired. You're gonna have a point after the first 3 months. Your mind's gonna say you need to quit, but don't
Yep.
quit. Find something that's gonna motivate you. Find something that is going to keep you going. If it's a picture of whatever that you have to have up on the fridge or to look at every day, or if it's a book, or if it's music, or what, just find what motivates you, and then keep that going. My family and my friends, get involved with a community of like-minded individuals. We'll help keep you going. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're pushing each other to get through it all together. So
Yeah.
bottom line is just find out what motivates you. And then the other thing is I could say training and all that stuff, but dieting and drinking plenty of water, taking care of yourself too, is going to help you with that as well. Eating clean helps me, because there's days if I eat like crap and the next day I go and train, I train like crap. So
Yeah.
it helps out a lot, believe it or not. So a lot of those fitness gurus out there do know kind of what they're talking about, or they do know what they're talking about, but just don't read too much in that in between the lines, So
Oh, I agree. It's one of those, because that was a big thing for me. A lot of people asked me in the beginning, once I did this, what was the big help? And I'm like, I was doing a lot of exercises to begin with, but not really getting any gains. I didn't start losing and getting everything great until I got my diet on track. Once I got my diet on track, the pounds started melting, and that was kind of it. It's like, you got to get the diet in place.
Yeah. And and the biggest thing too is taking care of yourself along the way. So
Yep.
I've had friends where they've shred too much weight too fast, and they're doing too much at once. And, it was horrible for them. So, you got to find that balance, and a lot of it's mental. Like I said, you're going to have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. So, some literature I recommend is any of the Mike Matthew books. A lot of the book I started reading when I started lifting, that helped me get my diet on track and my routine and stuff, was Bigger, Leaner, and Stronger. No, I'm not sponsored or anything, but that helps me a lot. So, bottom line, find something that's going to help educate you, make sure you're taking care of yourself, and then get involved with the community of people that are going to help motivate you, or friends and family, whatever. So motivation is huge.
It is. Motivation's huge. Diet's huge. I mean, it's a combination of things. So, and that's kind of, what I've learned along the way is every time I've tried doing this in the past, I had one part right, but none of the others. And now I've got a great community that I deal with, the Battle Miles community, and then a good community around me here at home. And then once I got the diet, the community, and the workouts, it all changed. So
yeah, and just keep in the back of your mind when you're out there doing something, or somebody out there doing something even harder, and one of the things that, like yesterday when I was out there running Snowfall, the route I chose has a lot of freaking hills, and it is what it is. But all I can think about is some service member out there that, is dragging somebody off the battlefield right now, like Desmond Doss with Hacksaw Ridge. He carried a ton of people off of a hill. you know, my advice to you is keep in mind somebody out there is doing something extremely harder than what you're probably doing right then and there. So
That is so true. All right. Well, thank you, John. I'm sure we will probably talk again soon. I'm
Okay.
definitely going to be looking into the Ruck N Run, and this has been a blast.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys interviewing me, and I'm glad I could not disappoint during the championship. So
No, you killed in the championships, and you're killing it out there. So, like I said, we'll be talking again. Thank you, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.